Good morning, all. Good to have you, Marcus. Just on the chat line. Sorry, the WhatsApp just now. Good you can join us. Great stuff. Nice to see a couple of new names in there. I'll just go through little bits and pieces just now when we start at past. Okay. Most of it's common sense, but I'll just go through it anyway. Have a pickful day indeed. Excuse the typo on the CAD-CA. Not much of an excuse, but anyway, the excuse is I come up with the ideas, put them through, and then they type it out, plus carrying on a meet at the same time, and trying to get the trade out and blah, blah, blah. And as I say, not put down, when I've copied it, once it's sent out on our own app, our own WhatsApp, that I copied and pasted onto the QT group, and then after one of our alert point out, well, hang on, SL won't work. It's you've got to go your way around. And I realize it's a sell, not a buy. So do beg it. I didn't spot it when I copied and pasted it, and I thought, no, the top stopwatch is correct, TP is correct. What's the problem? Until I realized the typo said it was a buy and not a sell on the CAD-CHF. So beg your pardon. Anyway. Got to try and watch that. Take a time. A lot goes in, and the call comes up to say we had one again yesterday. So, yeah, you'd be alert to it. Sometimes it's unfortunate typo. And just if you do see it, just let me know. Bloody hell, sorry about that. And of course we rectify it. Okay. Just wait till I've passed, give it a few more seconds. Okay, I've passed. Right, just any new guys, so give me a second, let the guys in. Any new guys, quite straightforward. It's a forum more than a class, so we encourage interaction so we can all learn. The stuff I go on about, I speak quite frankly, it's a bad habit of mine, but anyway, I'm a bit old and I can change now. I'm working it, but I do tend to speak quickly and do it every day. And sometimes I go a bit fast, especially if some people just starting, what the hell's he on about? Just sort of say, don't say, what the hell are you on about there, Roger? But if you like, just say, so run that by again, or I'm not sure, what do you mean by that? Or what's that black line on there? What's that blue line on there? Or what's that gold, whatever? Or just interact, and then we can learn. This is not a class, it's a forum where we work out strategies, trades, discuss stuff, and try and improve the practicality. Because there's a hell of a lot of guys buying courses on theory, and then they find it's very different in the practicality. And that's life. You know, you go to university, you study law for 4 years, and then you go to the commercial world and often find it's a very different ball game to the university world. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, interact, and we can do that. Now, how we interact, we can verbally do it with pleasure. But please, if you're not verbally interacting, keep it muted because we get a lot of background noise. And quite frankly, for your sake, it could be embarrassing. You might be having a fat argument with your spouse, and then we can all hear it. But yeah, so when you interact, obviously just unmute and ask your questions if it needs more detail, with pleasure. Otherwise, you can chat line. But you don't just sit there and hope it's going to be downloaded into your brain. You know, it's not a computer. You're not a computer. You need to interact. If you're not sure, you don't understand it, if you don't interact, you're not going to learn, and you're wasting your time, basically. And then worse, you can make financial mistakes unnecessarily because you didn't get the clarification. Want to stress as well, this is a trading, not a training room. So if you come in with absolutely no knowledge, hoping for free lessons, that ain't going to work. A lot of guys there are paid good money to get this knowledge, and they want to concentrate on trades and stuff like that. So that ain't going to happen. So if you don't know what a pip is, you don't know what a forex is, you don't know what a share is, then you're going to have to go to classes or invest in some knowledge somewhere. And once you got the basics, then please come here and we interact and we sort of improve on that. It's an ongoing area. Even the guy who's been trading a couple of years, he's pretty good. Like myself, I've been doing this for a while, but I like to interact with everybody there because I learn as well. So it's not just saying I've been doing 2-3 years, I know the score, I don't need a trading room. No, you're going to come up with ideas, you might miss something, you get moral support, and a large amount of trades we do find here in the trading room. New ideas, and like came out yesterday with the 8-day exponential moving average as an exit sort of thing. So we come up with ideas and it's ongoing. So it's not so once-off class, pass the exam or the whatever the test, and then that's it. No, it's ongoing. Okay, so just bear that in mind. But just remember, please interact if you're not sure. Don't sit there and hope you're going to get downloaded. That ain't going to occur. And always bear in mind, this is all about buyers and sellers, and there's no 100% right or wrong. Okay, don't try and look for the holy grail of 100% correct trades. That's not going to happen. And don't forget, always prepared to risk. It's risk, being the operative word, money you can afford to lose. If you can't afford to lose, you're in the wrong business. Then you have to put your money in fixed deposit or something, or in the bank, etc. It is not equity, it's derivatives or leverage instruments of equities, and you've got to understand that it is higher risk than equities, and equities are higher risk than money in the bank. But if you want the returns, you've got to take the risk. If you can't afford to take the risk, you can't afford to have the returns, and if it's too rich for your blood, then you can't be doing it. You can't say, hang on a minute, I can't take a risk and I'm in the derivative market. There's a contradiction in terms. It's one of those things. Okay, we're all clear on that. Right. I am qualified to advise. Just bear that in mind. If you do have a lot of other people out there assisting you, that's fair, they can do if they like, but not all of them are qualified to do it. Doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. Just because you pass your driving test doesn't mean you know how to drive. It means you're legally allowed to drive. So I am registered as with the FSCA, the Financial Services Conduct Authority, to give advice, and you have to do certain exams and go under supervision a period of time and blah, blah, blah. So I'm legally allowed to advise. The other guys, I'm not saying they don't know, but just bear in mind, they can copy and paste the advice, but it's questionable whether they're allowed to formulate their own trading advice. Just bear that in mind. I know a lot of companies out there do that, and strictly speaking, they're putting their financial service provider FSP license under threat. If a guy is trading on your behalf or advising you without being registered with the FSCA, they're not supposed to do it. And if you come a cropper with that advice, you go to your ombudsman, and then the FSP will start getting on to the broker. Bear in mind, I'm obliged to try and give the best advice I can under honesty and integrity, but that does not mean it's always right. If the guys have been doing a while, no, I get them wrong like everybody else does. You just got to accept it. We always try and aim at and get more right than wrong. Okay. Always bear in mind, there's no set in stone, and this is all about opinions. It might not reach the TP. We obviously go through modifying stop loss. Last thing you want to do, it just misses the TP, comes flying down and stops you out on a loss. So we try to modify once you're in a decent profit. Don't get the stop loss too close, so that you're protecting profits in case something changes. The market's change on a daily basis. Dollar strong today, might be weak this afternoon, it might be strong tomorrow, it might be weak next week. You know what I mean? So if you're doing well, let's say, just very simply put, your TP is up here, let's say, and it gets this far and your stop's down here. You don't want to leave your stop there in case it comes flying down. Your winner now is a loser. So if you modify your stop, you will get to a situation where stop loss is better than entry. So if you get stopped out, it's no profit. So a lot of guys says, oh no, I'm not in that one anymore, stopped out. But that's not essentially bad news. A lot of times it's stopped out in a profit. Just bear that in mind. Because a lot of guys buy the course, don't go through it, start trading, don't really know this stuff, they don't attend trading rooms, anything like that, and they're turning winners into losers, and that's heartbreaking. Okay, a loss is a loss, but do not trade a win into a loss. Okay. Thank you, Andy. And yeah, so I don't expect your money, guys, but I expect your pats on the back. I've got an ego like every male out there, so we all like it. Thanks very much, Andy. Fully appreciate it. Nobody likes criticism, but if it's constructive, we can learn from it. Fair enough. And like everything, it's all how you word it. Some people who's born diplomats, they can give you a big ticking off and you feel, and it's still like it's a pat on the back. It's just skill. Morning, Lance. I'm unable to hear anything from the system. Is it on my end? Well, I don't know. I've just been waffling along the last few minutes. I assume everyone can hear me. I'm not sure it's my side or yours. Anybody not hear me? I've been talking for, I'll write it down because you can't hear me. You don't know I'm saying it. Everybody hear me. Can everybody hear me? Loud and clear. Thanks, Pietro. Sorry, Lance. It looks like, oh, I've got to write down. Okay. Okay, everything seems to be fine, 100%. So yeah, so it looks like, I'm sorry about that, Lance, but looks like the audio's issues on your side. Okay, all right. So we've got a couple of trade ideas out. One was sent out to the VIP group, and the other two were sent out to everyone else. But I can share the VIP group in here because you've got 1 round and 1 million automatic. You've got access to that. However, having said that, those guys who've got 2,500 rand or $150 or more in their account, I'll upload you to my VIP group, which basically means you get daily updates, other pieces of interest posted to you, and you get the odd signal sent to you as an extra bonus, which the other guys won't receive, so it's in your own interest. Why we're encouraging that is because, unfortunately, I've gone on about this before a lot of time, people are trying to trade the international trillion, not billion, $1 trillion a day markets with a pea shooter, with basically squat money. It's not going to work for you. I'm going to be horribly honest with you. As I say, it's like going up a tankless pea shooter. You know, people are putting 10, 20, 30, $40 in their account. I'm going to be harsh here. You've got no chance. You're just putting in to try it out and set, fair enough. But if you think you're going to make money with a capital of, which is not even a meal out or a hamburger in a restaurant, it's not going to happen. And those poor, unfortunately, those poor chaps are the guys who can at least afford to lose, and they will. I'm sorry to say it's horrible, but in that you've got no chance. You haven't got the capital, you haven't got the knowledge, you haven't got the equipment, and you're going up against people who've got the equipment, the knowledge, and the capital. Who do you think's going to win? You charge him with a spear and a shield against a tank. Who do you think's going to win? So try and get yourself some capital to do it properly. Otherwise, you could end up in tears. Now, that's why even 2.5 is not much, to be honest, but at least it gives you a chance to go into a couple of trades. You can and still have free margin, etc. Guys in less than that, they can go one trade at a time, and they can't diversify. All their eggs are in one basket. They just do not have enough free margin to go any more trades because the capital it's so tiny. Remember, this is a business. You try and open up a little plastic table, put a few, maybe a dozen eggs on there and a couple of potatoes, and put that little table beside Pick and Pay. Who do you think is going to win? Where are you going to shop? You know what I'm saying? So just use, please, I beg of you, some common sense and try to make it into an international trading world with a price of a hamburger. You're not doing yourself a favor. And I get that a lot. And they get all quite stroppy with me. I'm not trying to get clever. I'm trying to, money didn't come to me. It's got nothing to do with me. It's just saying for your sake, you just use some common sense. You're wasting your time. Okay. And have faith in yourself and final decision. Okay. Yeah, as I put down I put it down anyway. If you saw that on my VIP group, I apologize. It was sent out as a buy. The figures are all correct, but it's a sell, not a buy. And I corrected, said this is a sell. So stop loss T, they're all correct. All the position size, all correct. It's just it's a sell, not a buy. Okay. So it was sent out again. I'll show you the CAD CHF on my group in here as well. See, I pointed that out was a sell, not a buy. So it's resent against a sell. So it's all clarified there. There you are. Just check the typo. If you suddenly think, oh, hang on, the stop loss is above when it's a buy. How can that work? Often typo. I just do it. One gentleman did it. He WhatsApped me, says, well, the figures are wrong here. You got a stop loss above and you got to buy. Sure, that's incorrect. I said, thank you, well spotted. And yes, you're quite right. It's incorrect. It's a sell, not a buy. So we've got a sell on this one and with the correct figures. Now, the entry was 67.10. It's more or less the same at the moment, maybe a couple of pips to the good, but that's tiny. Give it a chance and see how it goes. So if you missed it, well, there you are. That's the trade. You can join it here. So don't worry about that. Don't put a sell stop or buy limit and crap like that. Go for the market. 2 pips ain't going to kill you. Okay, it's only 2 pips for the good. Okay, so there you are. That's the sell. You see it on the screen there. You should see it on your own screen. You should have it all handy there. Work out your risk. 120 rand a shot. So if you can risk, yeah, well, there you are. The risk reward's all there done for you. So you can't work out the maths on it. Go and buy a maths course. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so that's all done. If you like it, you can enter a market. If you don't, well, don't enter it. Okay, now I'm going to discuss the GBP CHF one, which was only sent to the VIP, and that was a sell. Now, some guys say, why are we selling it to the buy stone? Well, a very good reason, because I think it's overcooked. If I'm going to choose which currency I think is the better one right now, I'd take the Swiss franc 7 days a week over the pound, okay? It's completely different economic structure in Switzerland compared to the UK. They haven't got these fantastic social programs, which are fantastic, but of course cost the government, the taxpayer, a lot of money, and then to borrow money, implement them. It's not quite crippling, but it's not far off it. They're getting runaway inflation and runaway debt, trying to implement these systems, a bit like the Western world overall. It's very nice to be socialist, but forget the fact, like everything else, it comes down to money and someone's got to pay for it. I think we should all have 100 rand an hour minimum wage. Might get me a lot of votes saying it, but the problem with that is, you could put guys out of a job. Let's say 100 rand minimum wage for your domestic. Now they come here 8 hours. You're going to pay them 800 rand. You want to come in, let's say, once a week. People might not say, I want to pay over 3 grand a month for once a week. So what they do is they let the person go because they've got no choice. They can't negotiate as a minimum, and it can actually backfire. So a lot of these lovely theories correct lots of lovely votes. Unfortunately, we get the old boring or practical. They've got to be paid for. So just bear that in mind, and that's why the pound's suffering a bit. So despite the facts in the buy zone, I thought the Swiss franc was the better of the two, so I suggested the options sent out. So the guys on the VIP group who grabbed that would be smiling at the moment, because what was the price we went in on? Got it at 50. Where is it now? Okay, sorry, 1.1328. So that's in a bit of a profit at the moment. I think, unfortunately, if you didn't enter this one, I think I wouldn't be chasing it now. I think 15 pips in profit is a little bit wide. If it pops back up again and you like it, that's fair enough. You can do it. I'll put it up for you because a lot of guys will not have received it, and anybody who's joined them in the trading room will have access to all the trades, even the VIP ones. That's their privilege. Now, we got it in at I'll put an appending here. This is the price we got. It sent it out at anyway. The guys who took it, I don't know, it's up to you. This is what was sent out at 1.328, and the stop loss was 1.1418. Don't forget, mute yourself, guys. We don't want background noise. Puts me off. 1.1117. Sorry, mistake. 1.1418. 1.117. Well, that was the signal. So it's 14 pips at the moment below. If it jumps up, if you want to put it sell limit or something, you can, or wait out. It's up to you. But I'm a bit iffy about chasing it now. I don't mind 10 pips or below or the price if you're going short, but further away than that, I think it's chasing it. the risk to reward won't be correct. Remember, the risk to reward obviously put in the difference in the stop loss and the point of entry on the signal. So if you're getting a very different price, clearly that risk to reward won't be exact. Don't forget, if it's a better price, it's a different story. For goodness sake, if the price is 1.1340 and you want to sell it, for goodness sake, go in the market. Do not put a sell stop in. That means you want to sell it at a worse price than the one at the moment. That's not clever. So if it's a better price, go for it, market. If it's a worse price, just make that decision. And it's just rule of thumb, probably anything but 10 pips away, probably a little bit to ship a sell, rather wait for it to pick you up. Hope you all understand what I mean by that. Okay, just look at the figures and just think, is it worth it? Because you're gonna have to recalculate, you know. It's not, if it says 100 grand a micro, that's worked at 28, not worked at 11310 or something. That's completely different. And remember, for every 10 pips further away from the stop loss, it's another 10 pips closer to TP. So for every 10 pips, it's like 20 pip difference in risk reward. Just bear that in mind. We must understand the maths behind the basic arithmetic behind trading. I do emphasize that because I've read a few articles where we're having a lot of problems in our schools over here, where basic arithmetic up to the matric level is not that good, with very low pass rates. And a lot of the teachers, to get their figures looking good, are pushing guys through. The problem is when they leave the school with a matric, the value is not there because they're not fully understanding it. And a lot of going to university, dropping out the first year. I've heard horrendous horror stories of 50, 60, 70% of people dropping out maths the first year. So they weren't properly foundation educated before going into university. So this is a bit of a worry. And as well, I don't know if you're reading recently, I think it was the busiest day or one of them anyway, there are over 80% of the pupils now are not reading for meaning. They might be able to read, but they're not understanding basically what they're reading. And that's one of the lowest percentages in the world, which is not good. The highest percentage actually turns out not being able to do it is what I'm saying, which is very, very, very scary because it's a competitive world out there, the commercial world. And when you go job hunting, if you're not being able to read for meaning and arithmetic, it's going to be an ongoing battle for you. So yeah, those are far, far more important. Okay, anyway, so if you want to take this one, rather try and get the better price, if you're on the VIP group and you got it, you should be smiling because it's in a profit. Having said that, there are a few new guys here, so just give me a second as I'm going to put the economic calendar in for you. Just want to copy and print for a moment. That's the economic calendar. Keep a good eye on it. This is also important. This is the dollar index. For obvious reasons, that's very important. If you haven't got it, I think there's a couple of new guys here who don't have it. Please copy, paste it, keep it, refer to it. Very important. Don't teach that in classes, but I'm teaching you now. It's very important. There's something called the United States 10-year yields, 10-year note. We're looking at the yields on the 10-year note. I'm just copying and pasting that for you as well, so you've got that. Because that affects. Why has that not come up properly? Sorry, beg your pardon. Just do again properly. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to put my number in as well, Roger. It's WhatsApp, by the way. Trading support. There you are. Now, the reason I'm giving the number out, I'm going to be quite strict on this. So please, I cannot assist you if you've got a demo account or you've got virtually minute funds in there. I can offer no value and you're not doing yourself any favors anyway. 2,500 rand. It's going to mute you all. There's a bit of a racket going on here. If you want to speak, just let me know and I'll unmute you, no problem there. Now, if you've got $2,500 or more, $150 or more, just WhatsApp me there and I'll upload you to my group, and then you'll get the extra signal like this one here was sent out to those guys. And it's not doing too bad as it turns out. At the moment, we're already 18 pips in profit, and you'll get daily economic updates. Right, the 10-year yield. Now, it's not that it is a 10-year, you're quite right. Now, you get something called the US Treasury bond or note. Bonds are usually 15, 30 years. We call them notes. It's just borrowing money when it's about 5 or 10 years. And they call them Treasury bills when it's short term, like a year or less. Now, the purpose of that, it's the most traded bond, certificate, paper, whatever you want to call it, in the world. And we're interested in the yields because the interest or yields on it dictates how world economies are likely to run, because the Americans still like the number one and all that. So when you want to buy gold, if the higher the yield on the 10-year note, the more negatives for gold. So you're thinking, I'd like to buy gold, and you're seeing the 10-year note yield, and not the bond itself, the yield on it. The bond goes in the opposite direction, inversely proportional. So basically what I'm saying is, if you check, you've copied and pasted, you check your 10-year yields on the notes there, and that's going up, you'd be about hesitant to maybe buy gold. You might be able to sell it. If it's coming off, then it will be positive for gold. So a dollar goes up, yields go up, negative for gold. Dollar goes up, yields go up, negative for shares, and negative for indices like the Dow and NASDAQ. Hope that's clear. That's why it's very useful. And the dollar index is obviously self-explanatory. If you're going to buy the dollar yen, and you see the dollar index plummeting, you might consider, is it a good idea to be buying the dollar? You know, if you're going for the euro dollar, and you think, well, hang on, if I'm going to buy the euro, I'm selling the dollar. But now you've seen the DXY shooting up, you might hesitate about buying the euro because you'd be therefore selling the dollar. It's not a good idea. So that's very useful to keep an eye on. And the economic calendar, obviously, is extremely important, because you don't want to be jumping in just before a major calendar fundamentals coming out on the economic side, because you can get caught with your pants down. Remember, technicals show you what the buyers and sellers are doing, but you know, a bomb goes off in the Persian Gulf, or an attack is made on the US Pentagon. Never mind your technicals, your double tops, your head and shoulder, that's all irrelevant. Obviously, that have a big effect fundamentally on the market price. Hope that's all there. Very important correlation, very important, you've got to know them, absolutely. Because as I say, it's very important to come in here. A lot of that stuff is not taught in the theory classroom. And a lot of details there you probably find in the practical world aren't used so much. And a lot of stuff which are not that difficult, basic stuff, are not taught, and actually are very important. So that's why I try and get to the practical side. I take the attitude, majority of people come into this are not wanting to be, let's say, take the car, for example, becoming car engineers. Most of them are interested in getting to the car and getting from A to B. What happens under the bonnet, as long as the bloody thing works, they're not really that bothered about it. And a lot of theory that teaches you an enormous amount of what happens under the bonnet is that practical for helping to change gear. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so now they've got the pound Swiss franc are doing okay. Oh, yeah. Excuse me, another one was sent out, which is the CHF JPY at 153.40. Let's see how that's doing. Don't know who took that one. Okay, that's not doing too badly either. Right, got in at, don't chase it now. If you're not in, it's too late. Now it's gone up 20 pips, clearly. A bit too early yet to start adjusting your stop loss, but we might be able to do it this session. Okay, if it goes up above 70, we can start looking at maybe adjusting the stop loss, modifying it to protect. Okay, we'll come back and remind me of that. We'll come back and check it later on if it continues north. We want to protect our profits. Okay, but the moment's a little bit, we don't want to get a stop too close. We don't get stopped out in the noise and it goes onto the target and you're not on board. You're very happy. But anyway, it's doing okay. We're up 20 pips, so that's okay. The CAD CHF is well, it's okay. It's about the same. And the what was that? GBP CHF is so two of them are nice in profit. One's maybe a pip in profit, but virtually even. So that's fine. We're happy with that. Let's go back to a couple of trades we got out already. Gold. Just gonna knock this off. Gold. It's come back a bit. I think a lot of guys actually have been stopped out. It got up to about 74. The target was 84. We got the 74. Some guys took the profit, some guys modified, and some guys out. No problem with that. They've been out in the profit. The guys got it 1949. I'm suggesting if you haven't modified, I think it's worthwhile to protect. We don't want to turn a winner into a loser. So put it at 1949 if you got it at that price, just in case it comes back and stops you out. Okay, so you won't make any money, at least you won't lose. You do not want to lose on a winner. But a lot of guys are out of this at the moment, and maybe an opportunity to go back in again. I'll be a little bit circumspect by rejoining if you've already taken profit on it. I'll tell you why. We've got the ADP coming out, the automatic data processing, which is a bit of a precursor to tomorrow's non-farm payrolls coming out 2:15. 2:30 is the weekly jobless claims, so that can have an effect. And of course, the big one tomorrow at 2:30 is the jobs report or the non-farm payrolls, which I'm sure you're aware I will be doing a session to do a straddle trade to make use of the information or data release at 2:30. I'll be in just before 2 o'clock tomorrow for about an hour. Those who've got the Tom can join me. If you haven't got the Tom, don't. We can only allow about 100 people in there. That's our limit. We don't want seats being taken up by guys that don't have money, don't only on demos. I don't be rude, you're wasting our time, and more to the point, you're wasting your time, and more to the point, you're keeping somebody out who could make use of the trading session. So if you've got Tom, please join. If you haven't, well, don't. And or better still, try and get some money in. If you want to make money, you've got to invest. Trying to make money with no money, no, it's not going to happen. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You need capital to make. As long as you're broken to break even, Pietro, let it run. You might come right. Pull back a bit, I get that. And how long will it pull back further? It's a bit of support, as you can see on the chart there. You might bounce back up from there. Let's have a look at the yields. The yields are up a bit. It's a bit negative for gold, to be fair. And the dollar is going up a bit. So it looks like it might get a bit of a pullback on gold, but at least you're protected, okay? Well, this is it, Marcus. As I said to my wife, you've got to spend money to make money. So spend some money on me. Didn't seem to agree. No, I'm only joking. But yeah, unfortunately, you need three things, guys. You need knowledge. You need all three. You can't have one without the other. You can't have two without all three. Don't have knowledge, you can't do it with money you've got. If you don't have the equipment, you can't place trades. You obviously need the right equipment, and you've got to have the capital. And unfortunately, I don't mind people starting small amounts, entirely up to them. What does bother me is people expect to buy a second-hand bicycle and get the same performance at the top of the range work. Clearly, that's ridiculous, but they seem to do it. And quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, it annoys me. How the hell can a person who's lashed out $1 million around the top of the range work, and then you rush out 5,000 on a runabout and expect to get the same kind of performance? Well, it's just completely stupid, actually. I think the art and art of it is. And unfortunately, a lot of people are doing that. And they get quite, put 150, why can't I do that? You can't be alive. You ain't going to make any money. You know, just try and use a bit of common sense. The whole world is my friend. Monroe, the whole bloody world. What you think you mean is what's moving more than others. Well, clearly, gold, indices, and the dollar, because it's American, will have more effect on it. But the pound, the Swiss franc, the Mexican peso, you know, the whole lot will be. That's why if you call up, I tell you, if you're with a broker right now, and you call them up about 5 minutes before 2:30 tomorrow afternoon, and you say, how's it going? What do you think of euro dollar? He says, I'm sorry, my friend. I'm sorry, George, but I'm on the road at the moment. I'll only be in the office in about an hour's time. I'd be rather suspicious of that broker, because I don't know a broker out there who's not bang in front of that computer for the data release at 2:30 tomorrow. So anybody who's not, I question the bona fides of that broker. So just bear that in mind. And if you call me up just before the Dartries _2, I'm sorry, mate, I won't take that call. I won't anyway, because I'll be in a Zoom session here. But if I was a Zoom session, I wouldn't take that call. I'm waiting for that data release, like everybody else who's trading on the planet's doing worldwide. There's guys that get up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, Australia, Japan, or whatever, for that purpose. Just bear that in mind. It's important. Having said that, guys, that's a slight change over the last 2-3 months because inflation. It might be a situation, the CPI release, I don't know if it's next week, it's the week after, could maybe be just, if not more important, we shall see. But I will be doing a session for the CPI and definitely tomorrow as well. So those who've got the money and want to do the straddle trade with me, come and join me. I just have to ask people like Dirk and Farney, they're happy chappies, especially Dirk, he's been doing it a few times and he's made some quite quick, easy money doing it. So why not? Pardon? I'll just plop it down. I'll just write it down for you all so you know. But please, I beg of you, don't take someone's place up if you've got a demo account or a 400 or 500 rand your account, because I hate to say it, mate, you're wasting our time and you're wasting your own time. Put some bucks in and do it properly. Capital, it's a capitalist system, you need capital. Right, 1400 to, so on this Zoom, by the way, it's trading Zoom. Tomorrow, there you are. The release is past, but I want to just go through the straddle trade. And not really harsh here, but guys, try and pitch up on time. If you know how to do it, pitch up late, doesn't matter. But don't come in at 20 past 2 and say, oh, Roger, explain the mechanics of this trade to me. I won't have time because the guy's going to start placing the orders in about 25 past, ready for the release. So, you know what I mean? And now you're going to miss it, and it does well, and then you're going to be fed up. So I'll be in just before 2 o'clock. If you don't know how to place the trade, you don't know about the straddle trade, then make sure you rock up on time, because I'll go through it 2 or 3 times, still have time to do it. If you join late, I've had guys join 2:30 and ask, is it too late after the data release to join this? It's difficult not to be sarcastic. You know what I mean? yeah. The bus, if you miss the bus, you like miss the bus. You know what I mean? So yeah, just make sure. If you don't know how to do it, join on time. And keep a pen and paper to make sure you understand. And don't ask me to explain in about 6 minutes to go to the release. You'll run out of time. No, it's not. Pietro, no, it's not. You trap the price. Well, yeah. No, it's not. It's a. I tell you what, be honest, Pietro, guys. It's supposed to be a precursor, give an idea what's going to happen on non-farms the following day. I don't like that at all. That's incredibly misleading and gives people false impressions. So, oh yeah, the ADP's up. That means a non-farm. Why should I do a straddle trade? I'm just going to buy and sell depending which way it goes, and it comes a cropper. I've seen many times where the jobs report have been completely opposite release figures to the ADP. So ADP is of interest, jobless claims, weekly ones of interest. See how it comes out, but stick with the straddle trade on the CPI and the NFP. I think the CPI ones will start to fade a little bit down the line as we get inflation under control, and it won't have such a big effect as it had lately. But we'll still do it in the meantime. We'll keep you updated if it's changed. But the NFP will be ongoing. Sometimes called the jobs report. Will be ongoing. Okay. Sorry, Cecil. Bloody hell, I forgot about that. Yo. I do beg your pardon. Let's go to yesterday's trade. You're quite right. Thanks. That's what I need you guys for. I need you to remind me. I waffle on, go off the subject, or you ask a question, about to answer, somebody comes out and forget. So it's up to you to remind me, keep me on track. Thanks very much. Right, gold, let's do the 3 trades there. 55, okay. The Dow is doing okay. I reiterate, please, guys, give the trade a chance. Too many guys are taking the profit too quick and holding on the losses too long. I'm wondering why it's coming up a remorse. Don't do that. We're now in 157, that's 257. We're about 260, 270 pips in profit on this one. Let it run. We broke 328 yesterday. I popped up again, it's still down. What you can do if you're in this trade, which you should be, if you took this trade as advertised in the trading signal, you should not be out of it. What you can do is modify your stop loss to the 3157 or whatever it is, you got the entry, that's a single price, and then you're protected. Then you're protected, so you can relax. Why get out? This could come down another few hundred pips. You want to be on board. This could be very profitable. This can make up for 4 or 5, 6 losses you've done on other trades which you come up with. Simply this one alone. So let it run and put your stop loss into a break even. So now you're protected. Take the sweat out of the trade, and the rest is profits. Let's see how it goes. So that's doing okay. Now come back to the point that was made. There's Brent. Yeah. Where's Brent? Brent was a 73 entry. It's slightly below that, but it's popping around. It came off a little bit. I don't make a habit of doing this. I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe I shouldn't be honest with you. I went in at just above 73. It came off a bit, and I actually added to my position. I'm a little bit overexposed, but it's my money. I decided to do that. So I'm not doing too badly, but I'm just mentioning that. But be careful. Don't make a habit of doing it. Don't want to overexpose. But bottom line is it's slightly below the 73 entry. It's popping around a bit. Let it run, see how it happens, and yeah, take it from there. If, however, sorry, you didn't get into it, so I'm just still getting over this bit of flu I had. If you didn't get into it, you're getting a better price than the entry, and you do like the trade, obviously, if you don't like it, don't do it. Then you can take the trade now with the same SL and TP as the signal. I'll look at that as well. Beef up your account and draw money. There you are. There you are, Cecil. If you're in, hold on. If you're not in, getting a slightly better price, I suggest you go. Okay. Hope that's all cool. Right, you see, Ken, not necessarily, depends where you're. I mean, I can't turn around to guys out there and say NFP's about to come out, close your trades, and let's say you're in a minus. You know, noise goes up and down. You bought up here, it's down at the moment, you close it, and now you're taking, let's say, a loss on it, and it works out nicely. And if you held on to be a profit, not necessarily. What I could say, if you're in a very much a dollar related, or gold related, or index related one, just protect yourself by maybe getting the stock modified so you can protect yourself. But not to say get out of it, no. Now, we took one in the trade. We never sent it out. We took one in the trading room. Some guys took it yesterday as a sell. Actually, didn't write it down. Did anyone took this yesterday? Didn't write it down. Did anyone took it? It was a sell on NASDAQ. It was about 14.4, 14.380. I can't remember, actually, so I didn't write it down. But I think a couple of guys then mentioned, do I like the sell on that? I said, yeah, I do, quite honestly. Never mind, it's the buy zone. I think the thing's overcooked. I'm overall quite negative about the world markets as the best of times, as you can probably understand, with the incredible, ridiculous way they've been mismanaged over the last several years, in the West anyway, to a lesser extent in the East, but certainly in the West. And so, yeah, I'm still the short. So if anyone took this, you should be 100, 120, 130, 150 added in profit. Whether to chase it now is another story. 2 fundies coming out tomorrow. Sorry, 2 fundies coming out today, and 1 major one coming out tomorrow. Not sure we're chasing it now, but if you took it, you're in profit. Well done. Okay, you're in that funny. Okay, well then you're in profit. It's too close to modify at this stage, but at least you're in a profit. But I think some guys went in yesterday slightly better than that, actually. I think it's close to 14.4. Not sure in the moment. I don't know. I can't remember who they were. I can't remember the person who mentioned it. I said, yeah, I agree. Go for it. Now, listen, Jan, that's being extremely insensitive. There's a lot of guys who are not in a big profit on that, and are going to be deeply resentful and jealous. That's very insensitive. Ah, well bloody done. I'm only joking. Well bloody done, mate. Good question there. That's up to you. If you're in a fat profit, you can either close it or you can cut your position. I don't know what size position you got. It's a micro, you can't clearly. You've got bigger than a micro, you can maybe cap some, bank some of it, or just bring your stop loss down. You know, maybe just protect yourself with a stop loss just in case, because I know it might come out in your favor. It might fall off 450 points, 400 or 500 points, not points, sorry, pips. Who knows? And then you'll be highly fed up. Yeah. Right, I'm only joking. Yeah, well bloody done. I mean that. I want people to say I did well, big profit. I want to hear that. It not just lifts me, it lifts you, it lifts the guys in here, especially taking the loss. They know it can be done. It is a moral lift. Just to choose I've got this sort of rather brain damage sense, a ridiculous sense of humor. The guys are very, they understand it. Yeah, it's just I mean, we having a bit of banter and fun. The more the banter, the more things are going well. I tend to go rather quiet and whinge a bit. It's not. But no, well bloody understand. Okay, so yeah, yeah, I think rather maybe reduce the position size or modify your stop to protect. Jumping out, it might go in your favor. I'm not too sure about jumping out. Protect yourself, I think, rather more important. But I know for a fact some guys got a better price, better than 303, I think. Was anybody here mentioned it yesterday? Because I know yesterday morning, we don't do afternoon anymore, that somebody said, what about the NAS? I think it's good 150 higher than this. Anyway, whatever, but they should be doing okay. The father said, well done to the young. So yeah, and we are happy for you, you know what I mean? So I got in at 14.3 and you got in at 14.5. Well, bloody done. You know what I'm saying? I've got a few, remember, precedent number one, trade ideas. If I'm waffling on about something and you want me to look at, and you want to look at the euro dollar or anything, I'll stop and go to that. That takes priority. Remember, that's the trading room. In a quiet moment, I just want to go over a couple of things again. I think it's a couple of you guys here. The other guys, close your ears off. You heard it before. Please try and remember a stop loss and a TP are buy or sell orders put out there into the market. The exit for you, saying to other guys out there, my stop loss is, let's say, 14.6 on NAS, and you're going short. That's a buy order. Stop loss is a buy order. So entering short, you're selling. Your stop loss and TP are buy order. If you're going long, your entry is a buy. Your stop loss TP therefore will be a sell order. You're just putting out the market, take it off me. But if the market is closed, there's no buyers or sellers at that price. It will not be taken off you. And I just want to make sure we don't get any tears on it. What do I mean by that? This is Friday afternoon at 10 o'clock in the evening, Friday evening, and you decide to go and sell short the NAS, and you put a stop loss in at 14.5, argument's sake, right? Something wonderful happens to the share markets over the weekend. Some wonderful news comes out, and it opens up at 15,000. You will not be out of that at your stop loss. You'll be out of that at 15,000, and you will not be a happy chappy. Have we scammed you? Have we fiddled you? We won't. I tell you what, we've all got our price, but the people are kick up. So we scammed them out of 50, 100 rand. We have a multi-million rand business. We ain't going to risk our multi-million rand finance service provider license and business to scam you out of 100 bucks. Trust me, faithfully. Okay. So the problem is there was no buyers. The market was closed, and it opened up. Let's go to what we're doing here. And it opened up there. Never mind your stop loss there. Open up there. There's no buyers and sellers there. There's only buyers and sellers here. It'll be out of there. And I just want to reiterate that because a lot of tears flew from the eyes of people, NVDA, when it was a fundamental. Doesn't happen that often. It was so big. It was an enormously great set of results that came out on that, what do you call it, chip making company. It's now become $1 trillion company, believe it or not. Phenomenal. So the guys going along with that, or investing in that. There's a lot of $100 million heirs overnight. You know, there's a lot of very, very, very wealthy people came out of that suddenly. So it can be done. So just bear that in mind, guys. It's a buy. So if you've got a stop loss in on KO, remember what's this one? Coca-Cola is only open 3:30 and close 10:30. So if it after let's say you go and sell short Coca-Cola, and after 10:30, some figures are released from Coca-Cola, meant it's double the profit expected. When it opens up the following day, it could open up much higher than your stop loss. So be it. That's the only price you can get out of. I want you all to remember that. It doesn't happen that often. Like at 9/11, a lot of guys got very large slippage because there's no buyers and sellers, because the market plummeted on that 9/11, if you remember, the World Trade Center went and terrorist attack on it, and obviously the dollar plummeted. So never mind the stop loss, there's no buyers and sellers, everyone was selling. Just bear that in mind. So the stop loss is a buy or sell order, depending on going long or short, and it can only be filled if there's buyers and sellers at that level. And 99% of the time it's the case, because the multi-million dollar, billion-dollar, or trillion-dollar liquidity ensures that. But if the market's closed or a serious, fundamental, earth-shattering news comes out, obviously it will sell straight through that. Just bear that in mind. Don't make an issue, don't be frightened about it. Doesn't happen very often. Just be aware of it. Okay. It saves a lot of heartache, you a lot of heartache, and I a lot of time with chat line trying to explain that. And normally the people arcing up the most, the ones with least knowledge, least amount of money, and least understanding. And that's the frustration. Because we try to explain to them, they're so emotional, not getting it, they're not listening, and you start screaming and shouting, they're going to go and get to, you know, what do you call that? What's that Sunday program on? You know, it used to be every Sunday. Anyway, they're going to go to the newspaper and blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, the newspaper will laugh at them because they clearly make a lot of noise that knowing their stuff. So, yeah, please get to know your stuff and you won't have those issues. Okay. Right. I'd say 99% of people pick up it's usually, unfortunately, from lack of knowledge. And there are a large amount of people trading with understanding that in leveraged instruments, having any knowledge, even position size, you've got a calculator to work it out. And they're overexposed and undercapitalized, and it's coming back and biting them. And it's simply because they're trying to trade something they don't understand. Driving the car, they don't know how to drive it, wondering why they're having problems. Okay. Remember, if you want to make a living out of something, you've got to have the equipment, you've got to have the knowledge, you've got to have the capital. Otherwise, you won't make a living out of it. I don't know, actually. I looked at KO, probably a bad example for quite a while. Don't know what that's all about. Maybe it's the wrong thing. Maybe it should KO stop. Maybe it's the wrong thing in there. KO full stop. That might be better. That's better. Remember, when you put the code, you've got to put full stop after it. Otherwise, it comes out all of the gobbledygook. There, that's better. Hey, well, hang on. What happened? Suits you mean? Sorry. Not sure what that is. What the hell's going on there? No idea. Glitch in the system. Thank you. Oh, that's obviously ridiculous. Probably even up when it opens. I don't know what that's all about. But we're not in it anyway. Sound like a glitch. Good point. Just playing around as an example. I didn't actually look at it. What the hell? Yeah. Okay. Anybody still at NZD/USD? That was Ken's trade, 60.59. I think some guys modified to 60.30. I'm not sure if it reached there. No, it didn't. So it should still be in. Anyone who took that trade? Just be a little bit pedantic here, fine. It's the difference between bid and ask or sell and buy. Bid and sell the same thing, basically. Okay. So there we are. Let's have a quick go back at some of our trades we got out. We've got a moment. Gold still hovering. Might come off a little bit. Looks like the yields going up a bit. We'll see. CAD CHF 1328, 18 pips in profit. CHF JPY, that was in it. That's come off a little bit, but it's still up. That's okay. GBP CHF. How's that doing? That's doing okay. That's good. I don't know, 15, 16, 17, 18. I don't know. It's in profit, whatever. Go slightly, but protect yourself. We had the Euro CAD. Some people didn't get the right entries, so couldn't join it. Some people joined it anyway. If they did, lucky them, because it actually did very well in the end, the Euro CAD. That came at 145.90 to sell. By the time we actually received the signal, I think it already come off about 20 odd pips. But I think some guys joined it anyway. If you joined it anyway, clearly there's a big fat smile on your face. It's clearly a big fat profit. Well, modify your stop loss. Make sure you're going to win whatever happens. Maybe you put it 145.25. 145.25, and then you get them a nice profit, whatever happens. Okay, so you took that one. The other one I was a bit iffy on, except when I was in the trading room. I didn't okay it personally, to be honest, and I wasn't very keen on it. But that came out as a buy. I don't know if anyone took it, but I say we discussed the trading when it came out, and most of us, I think, agree with me. It was a bit iffy as a buy. I thought maybe we had potential of more of a sell on this one. Buying in the sell zone, the euro against a strong currency like the Swiss franc. I wasn't that keen personally, and it hadn't been, if you'd buy it, hadn't really lost out. It's about break even. You're not up, you're not really down. It's about the same as the signal price. But I'm actually leaning towards maybe a little bit short on this one. But how you guys feel? Yeah, bid and ask, buy or sell. Yeah, that's correct. Good morning, Mr. Stevens. Okay, so I'm actually starting to think that might be a sell, but rather than a buy anyway. But that means it wasn't one of mine, and I'm a bit hesitant about this, but we'll see. Maybe just leave it and see. Maybe you guys did buy it. Come right. Okay, I think the Dow, the other one, the Dow doing okay. Let it run, and yeah, I think the Nas was doing all right just now as well. Okay, so covered the ones we're in, not too bad so far. Looking okay. Oh yes, sorry, Brett. Don't forget our friend Brent. Quite right. I was thinking Cecil beginning of that. Beg your pardon. Yeah, it's okay. Let it run. If you haven't got Brent, I think you can go for it. If you have got Brent, hold on. Thank you, Cecil, and I really appreciate the backup. This is what it's all about. As I say, I don't want your money, man. I want you to get knowledge and learn. If you're getting benefit, that's how I get paid, you know. Mind, the odd bottle of Glenfiddich or single malt doesn't go down too badly either, if you feel a generous mood. Or if you're really feeling generous, my yacht my Lux yacht in the Bahamas needs a bit of repairs done on it. So if you want to send me some money to help me on that, I'd be very appreciative. Okay. Sorry, I will have my little joke. Yeah, that's fine. So, guys, benefiting, and remember, you won't benefit after one class. You need to come to several. Okay. And still, the markets can come back, kick you at times. They finally, Anne-Marie, Ken, Brian, you know, I don't care how good you are, how brilliant you are. The market sometimes behaves very strangely and can come back and kick. So make sure you got your position size calculator and get your budget and risk correct. Over confident of on the trade, over 100% confident this is a brilliant one. Often it comes back and bites. Just always be aware of that. Okay, we should have it anyway, but I'll go out again for you. It's on the signal, but I'll read out again. I'll do it for you. If you're not in Brent, I quite like it. So do it a buy, getting a slightly better price. So do it market. I'll use the same TP and every year, 67.8 and 82.2. And that stop is way out the way. It hasn't been there for about nearly 2 years, about 20 months or something, about a year and a half. So that's where the stop is nicely out of the way. And it's about 100 Rand a micro. There you are. If you haven't taken the Brent, you like it, there you go. Well, Marcus, you've got to go and get it. But trying to trade, do you go shopping without looking at your budget? If you do, and no wonder you got a black eye and a broken nose, because the wife's starting to get stuck into you because you can't pay the rent or the bond or whatever because you didn't do your budgeting and shopping. Obviously, teasing a little bit here. But yeah, just go to the live chat and obviously not the phone. You go to the app store for the phone. But for your laptop, and I don't think, if you're trying to try and trade on a phone, I mean, you can modify on that, but trying to use strategy on a phone, you haven't got the right equipment. You need a laptop. But anyway, go to live chat, go to technical support, and they'll download your laptop account. But it's not for shares, everything but shares. You got to go to the Excel spreadsheet in your Stock Market College login for the share calculator. Oh, the way I just shot. Yeah, okay. Well, there you are. You probably get hit for spousal assault if doesn't go budgeting and suddenly you can't pay the rent of the month. You're not going to be a happy chappy. What's wrong with this lovely, wonderful, top of the range TV I bought? But now I won't live in the rest of the month. Obviously, I'm making a joke of it because you need to budget. That'll help you budget. But don't forget, if you try to buy or sell a share, you need the Excel spreadsheet from your Stock Market College login. But just go there, go to live chat. If you want to do it at 11 o'clock and finish here, it's up to you. Do it now, it's up to you. But they'll furnish you on the technical support and the live chat. This is critical. It's not important, it's more important than that. It's critical. This is where the major reason why people cock up in this business, incorrect volumes and emotion dictating the logic. They let their emotions dictate. They're trading on emotion, not on rationale. And that usually, when they're overexposed, they're going in too big, they're not thinking straight. You're relaxed. In fact, when you go in, you say it's 100 Rand a micro. I'm prepared to risk 500 Rand. So if I lose 500 Rand, I can handle it. Your head is clear. If you're going in and you've got a 2,000 Rand risk and you can only afford 500, you do not have a clear head and you will not be thinking straight. And that usually ends up in tears. Okay, so if you haven't taken the bread, do it, but do not double up. I'd guys do that. It's just not using common sense. I mean, if you've got a 500 Rand risk, you do it again. Now you've got a grand risk, you might come right, but what happens if you don't? You don't want to have stories saying, oh, hang on, I'm giving this trading up. I just went into Brent and it just crippled me financially. Well, then you're overexposed. You went in correctly. You didn't get the volumes right. You've got to say, when you enter the trade, you've got to say to yourself, am I prepared to and can I afford to lose that money? If you can, go for it. If you can't, don't do the trade. And if you can't afford to take the risk, can't afford to lose any money, you're in the wrong business. You've already got 3 positions. A good point, actually, Bun Dealy. Now, what Bun Dealy means is there, guys, for goodness sake, check your free margin. Do not have too small free margin. Let's say you got 10 grand in your account and you got 600 Rand free margin. You go into another trade. Now you got 150 Rand free margin. You open 7 trades. Those 7 trades in the noise, the up and down, just have to move slightly against you. Now you got no free margin. You will be margin called and your biggest position or trade will be closed automatically. And when the stop loss will be closed to release margin back into your account. If it still goes against you, another one will be closed. You want to avoid the margin call. Okay, so make sure if you haven't got enough free margin, either top the margin up or don't trade. Don't leave yourself with virtually no free margin. And that's another common problem with people who trade without knowledge and without money. They're going with tiny, tiny, tiny balances and they're overexposing, especially they're over leverage. There are 500 to 1. They don't understand the pros and cons of leverage. And because the deposit or margin is so small, a highly leveraged account, they're going in, they're overexposing. That's a little hiccup in the price action and their margin call to think they're stealing their money. No, it's because they haven't got enough money to trade and they're overexposed to the tiny amounts they got. Thank you. Just check it for you. That reminds me, actually, I wanted to look at a trade of GBP USD. I forgot about that. PMI 44.8, slightly higher. Purchasing Managers Index, that is slightly higher, and slightly higher on the euro, and slightly higher on the pound as well. Okay, right. Something else, by the way, reminds me of that one. I was looking. I forgot to mention that. I mentioned this morning in the strategy room. There's a possibility of maybe a sell on. But the only thing I'm a little bit worried about, guys, is the fact we've got the ADP and the jobless, weekly jobless claims coming out at 2:15 and 2:30 respectively today, and the non-farms tomorrow, which obviously will affect the dollar. So you might be a little bit nervous of that. But that being as it may, I thought the possibility maybe some downside on this one. That, in other words, a little bit, maybe a bit more dollar strength coming in, but that could change. So I'm just mentioning that the fundamentals screw that up. But on a technical basis, there's a possibility of some downside here. Okay, Paul. Percentage margin, that's the free margin. You know, when you go in, you see your free margin. Actually, I'll tell you what the line of the sand on percentage is 80%. If your margin level drops to 80%, your biggest position, never mind whether it's in profit or loss, it doesn't matter. Your biggest position will automatically be closed. So keep your margin level for safety above 100%, just for safety. But if it drops below, you're okay. But if it drops to 80%, you'll be margin. So just for safety reasons, keep it above 100%. The basic problem with all trading at the moment, especially in South Africa, is unfortunately too many people have too small balances. And that's why they continue coming up with this problem. They try to trade a multi-trillion-dollar market with very, very small balances, and that's the problem. And remember, you cannot diversify. You know the expression, all eggs in one basket? You have no choice. You've got to have all your eggs in one basket. You get 3 trade ideas out, you can only pick one of them. You have enough money to go there, you haven't got a free margin. So trying to trade the international trillion-dollar financial markets with the price of a couple of hamburgers or so, you're not doing yourselves any favors. I'm going to be quite horribly, harshly straight on that. And it's usually people who least afford it as well. They're trying to get something for nothing. They're normally battling, they've got financial issues, etc. And that desperation is clouding their judgment, and they're not thinking rationally. And unfortunately, they've got little to offer and they want a high return. Unfortunately, it usually comes back, it takes a little bit they got off them. You've got to get the knowledge, you've got to get the equipment, you've got to have the capital. Otherwise, learn the stuff. Try to make it a few $100. The odds are hectically against you. I think that's fair comment. Hey, Farley, I'm not being unfair here, Mike. Would you agree on that? Ken, would you agree with me on that? I'll unmute in case you want to chit chat. Well, I'll unmute you all, yeah. Fair comment. It's like any business, hey. So you're selling a dozen eggs and you've got a little plastic table bang next door to Pick and Pay. I mean, you know, one has to use a bit of common sense there. Not always what you want to hear, but I think I'm doing you the favor of making you understand. Okay. This terrible economic climate has been, unfortunately, like most places in the world, been created by appallingly corrupt leaders. The same all over the world. We blame South Africa, all over the world. Corrupt leaders, Russia, in my opinion, just by everywhere, has created these sort of problems, unfortunately. Yeah. But having said that, at least you're learning about economics now, and that's vital. If nothing else, at least you're learning how something completely controls your lives, how it works, because most people don't know how economics work, and it controls their lives. Politics is based economics. Every bloody thing's economics. And at least once you understand a bit more, then make a little less mistakes, because that's unfortunate. Economic lack of knowledge, economic ignorance, basically, financial, fiscal ignorance, is clearly most of the problems of why people have these financial horrendous worries.
Hey, mate.
Go for it, Ken.
I think I have something important to mention. You see, like tomorrow, as we are asking about the NFPs, I suggest that, you see, when people have, like now we have open trades, we are in profit, maybe on Dow Jones, with the NASDAQ also, and it's a sell, you see. So coming to 2:30, how about if we maybe put a stop loss, so that if the market goes opposite direction, we don't lose our profit? Say we put a certain pips stop loss. Say if we put 10 pips stop loss, after the 10 pips on the 11 pips, we can have a buy in case the market goes in the opposite direction. And then if the market goes in the right direction, like we are in a sell and the price goes down, all we have to do is to cancel all those stop losses and pending orders and carry on. I don't know how you take that.
Okay, before I say that, thanks, Marcus. I fully appreciated that. Thank you very much indeed. As I say, that's who I get paid. When I hear people are benefiting from it, that's fantastic. Okay, going back to Ken, did he hear what he said? I hadn't thought of that. That's a good point. Fairly straightforward. Must have thought it was fairly straightforward. That's not a bad idea, that. What he's trying to say there is right. You got in on the Dow Jones at, let's say, 33,200. You can put a stop loss in at 33,200 just to protect yourself if you like, rather than getting out. But let's say you got in at 30,000, sorry, 33,000. It's only 70 pips away. So that's too close. Remember, 70 pips is a decent stop on Forex. On the indices, they're far, far more volatile. 70 pips won't cut it on the Dow or the Nas. So that's too close. You're asking for a jumping around noise to knock you out, and you might even have the trade going the right way. What he's suggesting is this, like a straddle trade, even if you're on your open position. So let's say it's now 2:25 Friday afternoon. You're in that, you got in at 33,000, and just in case, you're going to put up a buy. Well, 10 pips is too close, by the way, on the Dow. You've got to look in the region about 25 pips. Just better. We're using maybe $1 or $1.50 on the gold, 10 pips on the euro dollar, or dollar yen or whatever. But if you're using the NASDAQ or the Dow, you need about 25 pips. Too close. So let's say what he's saying here is he's now going to put in, he's already in short, but I protect here. He's in, let's say he's got 5 micros. I'm using that 5 arbitrarily. So he's going to use the same volume by going 5 micros long, 25 above, 5 short. Right. Now, let's say this one kicks in, goes up. Right, he'll cancel the other one, and he's got a hedge in there. If he's short on one, he'll be long on the other one, clearly. But he still thinks it's going to come off some stage. So he's hedged that, takes a profit, even though he's losing on the short going up till it comes off again. He caps that, and he goes down again. However, it comes in favor. Now he's got 2 positions. He's got one already going in favor, and another one's kicked in, so he's doubled up in favor. But because it was an original hedge, he hasn't overexposed, and he can always, now he's in a profit anyway, close it, cut it, do what he likes with it, and get rid of it if he feels overexposed, or bring the stop loss down to break even though it's a bit close on the other one that he went in on the release of the data, just to take the risk out of it. And now he's doubled up for a double profit if he continues the same direction. That's what he's trying to say. If you understood what I'm saying, I think it's not a bad idea. If you didn't understand, maybe Farley or Ken or somebody else who understands can explain a bit better. Maybe I got a little bit sort of verbal around that one. But that's what he's saying, and it's not a bad idea. If you didn't understand that, maybe Ken can explain it a bit better for you in more layman terms. He's not going to do it if you all got it, but if you don't have it, I think he should, because he probably explains slightly better than me, to be honest. Have you all got that? Would you like a further?
Hey, mate. Hey, mate. Because we already have a cell open, you don't open another cell. You see, you just put an insurance buy and a stop loss
Oh,
below.
okay. Got it. Okay, so in other words, you're not doing a straddle trade. You're putting a 25 pip buy above the market as a hedge. You won't be doing a sell stop. You're just doing a buy stop. Is that correct? Okay, so you're not
Yes,
doubling.
yes, mate. Because every cent counts here. You see, every dollar, every pound. Hey,
I get that. I get that. But what more the practical point is, you might not be able to do it, because even if you went into the other one, even that's in profits, it'll be good for your free margin. The jumping around might mean you haven't got enough free margin left, and you might risk a little bit of noise coming in, getting margin called when it's not a bad trade. So, but if you've got enough money, I still think the straddle might work quite well. It's not a bad idea. But if you're limited in funds and free margin, just to maybe as a hedge, if it's too close to your entry to modify your stop in, you could maybe just put a buy stop in, and if that's taken in, at least your hedge, and you can always exit later on before it comes back down again. And the extra couple £100 that is only a paper loss, you're still in the position when against you. You're more than made up by closing out and that profitable buy stop long. So I see. Okay, that's fair enough then. So basically,
and I also think it's a good idea for intermediate and advanced traders. For beginners, I think they must stick to the normal straddle trading. You see, because it can be complicated. I'm sure a lot of people are confused. They don't even know what we are talking about. But if you do understand, then you might save yourself some money. You know what I mean?
I'm afraid I have to say what Ken said, and I 100% agree. Okay, if you understood what the hell we're on about, have a look at it. It's not a bad idea. If it's gobbledygook, you're just completely starting. For God's sake, don't try and overcomplicate. In other words, don't start trying to run before you can walk. Rather, just stick to the original strategy. But the beauty is, as in the company, you'll get there. I mean, you know what I mean? You just started your medical course, but look, in 5 years, you'll be a doctor, 10 years, you're a surgeon, 15 years, you're a consultant, world famous heart surgeon. What a pleasure. It's something to aim at. Yeah, but then you'll get there. That's why you're learning, which is more than most people are doing in this business. And trust me, they're not going to take the trouble to learn. And you'll see them 6 months later, and they're still complaining about something, and it's somebody else's fault. No, it's their own, because they're not going to learn the stuff. It's like a guy's been married 10 times, says an expert on marriage. I disagree. He's married 10 times. I think he's not an expert on marriage. Yeah, okay. So fair comment there, guys. Yeah, if you didn't quite get that, you will get it. But if you do get it, have a look at that if you like. Okay, good stuff. Kawan just joined us. I don't think we've got enough time now to go in for that YouTube video, which you said was quite good. But I'll copy and paste it for you in case everyone wants to look at it. It's a YouTube video which was sent to me. Sorry, just looking at it. You might want to look through it. It's Robert Kiyosaki. Remember Rich Man, Poor Man? What happened there? That's better, yeah. He did a quick video on the debt ceiling, what it means, blah, blah, blah. It's about half an hour or so. If you want it, there you are. Okay, I haven't got time now to go through it. I said I would if we've got time to code this morning. We have, but never mind. You've all got it if you like. Sort of explanation. I'll be honest, I haven't had time to go through it, but to be honest, I do obviously know a bit about it. Some of the business do know about it, but those might find it quite useful. It's always good to have extra knowledge. Don't want to analysis blinding, paralysis by analysis, etc. But no understanding fundamental information, what's happening in the world, big wide world out there, getting that extra knowledge won't do any harm, and it will help. It can only help. Right, daily, we're having it Monday to Friday. We're having up to 9 to 11. No more afternoon classes. But when we have a CPI, not PPI, not Euro, CPI US, and the non-farms once a month, we'll have a 2 to 3 o'clock session to do the straddle trade. Correct? Yes. That's exactly all in the name of team spirit. We're kicking the same goalpost, guys. I want to hear someone like Jan Ackerman saying, I made a good profit on that one. That's meat and drink to me. That's my heroin hit to me. You know what I mean? That's my addiction to hear that. Yeah, very inspiring, but I hate to say it, maybe I'm being a bit cynical here. He made most of his money by selling the books, I think, rather than anything else. But anyway, his investing is quite basic, pretty good. I have no idea. I'm a bit reluctant to give opinions in Suso, because people think, oh, well, act on that opinion. And that's all it is, a guess. It's not even an opinion, it's a guesswork. What releases will be, how it'll affect the world's markets, how people react to it, I don't know. Nobody does. Rather keep your mind open and clear and go with the reaction, rather than prejudice yourself with bias of expectations which might not materialize. So I'd rather say nothing on that, to be honest. Everyone's got their opinion. Stuff flashes across the screen. If this like that when it's released, they don't know, so why say it? Okay, Marcus. Cheers. Right, GBP USD for sale. Just bear in mind, we've got a couple of funders on the US coming out today and a big one tomorrow. Just bear that in mind because it could stuff the system up. But if you do like the trade, I think you go to market, stop up here. Maybe not too wide. Make it maybe make it around anything. If you want to do it, but remember, I have warned you about the risk involved with the fundies coming out. Just selling it, like I just said. That way up there somewhere, and the TP down here somewhere. That should do the job. 123.20. So $100 a micro, but just bear in mind the funders can stuff it up, but technically I still see downside. Yeah, correct, fine. When the war room, I always remember, was quite amusing. In the last war, you used to get a lot of bickering and infighting, etc. And somebody put up a note saying, "No fighting in the war room." Amused me a little bit, but yeah, no fighting in the war room, guys. So if anyone wants to do it, I'm happy with the technical side of it. I'm just a bit worried about on the fundamental side. Okay, what's the time? 10:02. We've got a few more minutes to quickly check our trades. Started with the Brent, come off a little bit, but let it run. CAD CHF doing okay. That's in profit, good stuff. CHF JPY was doing nicely. CHF JPY at 40, still a bit close to put it up to break even. But if it takes out on the sell or on the bid, not the ask, on the bid, remember the spread there. It shouldn't be admitted, it's a bit ugly, that's 6 pips, 5 pips. Never mind, it is what it is. I don't sell them. But anyway, if it takes out 70 on the bid, you can bung it up to break even, and then you won't lose in the trade and see if you can really get some decent run on this one, like last time. It was a butte last time, so we get another butte this time. Okay, quite simple. Go to live chat and go to technical support and have it downloaded onto your computer. If you've got a phone, get yourself a computer. If you still don't get a computer, then you've got to go to the App Store. And don't ask what I recommend the App Store because I don't use it on the phone. I just use the phone for utility purposes. I'm getting horrible, honestly. I can mostly do it in my head now, just practice. So, yeah, But if you haven't got it for your laptop, get it. You don't go shopping without doing a budget. Don't try and do this without getting calculations. Okay, so that's doing just nicely. The other one was the GBP CHF as a sell. It's hovering a bit, at least it's hovering in the profit. Okay, at least it's doing okay. So that's doing okay. Gold is still doing okay. The Dow, is it still doing fine? If you haven't got the micro, guys, if you haven't got the micro, unless you've got about 10 grand or more, go and get the micro. Don't try and do the normal Dow Jones on 3, 4, 5 grand. You don't have enough capital. This is a 33,000 rand indices and very volatile. So if you want to trade the Dow and you've got less than 10 grand, go and actually load it onto your system, the micro, or add it by going and adding another account using the micro option. The NAS, you need 5 grand or more to trade the normal NAS. If you've got less than that, you want to trade it, then you go and get the micro. Don't forget, we will be sending signals on the NAS and the Dow. It'll always be the micro. We assume guys have got more money, more experience, to understand that. And like when I trade, I don't go in the micro, I've got more money. I'll go in the normal one. I assume the guys will know that. So you got 40, 50 grand, 30 grand. You won't go off with the micro, but you can still do the maths on it. So remember, it's 60 rand a micro. If it's the normal Dow, that's 600, which is a bit hectic. So just get the micro if you don't have it, and unless you can afford to do without it. But I hope that answers your question, NK. Please don't trade unless you worked out the position size. Go to the live chat and go and and go to technical support, like I mentioned. Remember again, if you're trading shares, you've got to go to login on the Stock Market College and get the Excel spreadsheet because it's different. That's only for shares. The rest, you quite happily can use a calculator, as you see on the screen there. That's exactly, yeah. Yeah, go to the Quick Trade live chat, or it's on your Quick Trade website, the SMC website, the portal. There's a live chat, bottom right corner. Go onto it and go to the technical support. And away you go.
Did you just say is the right time to jump back on the Dow because I got stopped out in profit? Or
Oh, well, chasing it a bit now, to be honest. If you can find a decent risk reward, I prefer to be short than long, but protect yourself before the non-farms, etc. But yeah, you remember the signal came out at 33,157. That's 200 pips higher than this. I'm still negative on the Dow. I'm chasing it here. So it's only a couple hundred pips away before we get there. I'm not too sure about that, Ken, to be honest. I think if it takes out 33, you can look at it again. I think you're chasing a bit here.
Okay, thanks, mate.
I think you had to stop it probably close. Guys, you shouldn't have been stopped out in the Dow. I'm having a problem with putting down an entry, and your entry should be 33,157 or higher. No problem. But if you got it at 33,000, you clearly can't put to entry 50 pips away. That's not going to work. Got to use a bit of common sense here. But no, I'm not too keen on that. So sorry if it flies off. You're not on board, Ken. I'm sorry about that. I'll leave that in your capable hands. But
I made enough profit. I made enough profit. I went out right at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And I started by having the position when it was all maximum, and then I was left with a portion that got stopped out.
I got it. Okay, that's fine. Anyone else an opinion on that? I'm not sure we should be chasing it again now. Maybe try and get a better price. Anyone disagree with that? Do you think you should go in again now? What do you think, guys? We've got a trading room here of 30-odd people. I'm sure some of them have opinions on that. Anne-Marie's sticking with that, leave it alone. Anybody think you should chase it here? Your opinion is valued, as long as you've obviously been a couple of classes and traded before. Okay. I think probably then stick to that, leave it. Okay. Yeah. I was saying, remember the old saying, don't get too cute with the international trading market. I think the same applies to that now, so we're chasing it there. Okay, guys, any questions just before we wrap it up till tomorrow morning? And don't forget the 2-3 session. I'll post on the VIP group, probably repost it again tomorrow as a reminder. And if you want to learn the struggle trade, you don't know how it works, for goodness sake, come in at 2 o'clock. Don't come in just before the release of the darts because I won't have time to explain it. It's not complicated, but it does need a couple of minutes to explain it. If you know the score, like Farley and Anne-Marie and Dirk, of course you can come in late if you want, because you know what you're doing. Keep warm, that's a good idea, Anne-Marie. Bloody hell, that's a good idea, yeah. Whoa, cold. That's the problem with South Africa. They don't seem to have central heating to equip you for the winter months. It's one thing about Canada and the UK and America. All the houses are fitted with central heating, so you don't suffer quite as badly. So keep warm, guys, yeah. Okay, guys, catch you tomorrow. You've all got my number anyway in the meantime. Enjoy. Thanks, Paul. Go well.
It's been a great session, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Odili. Cheers, mate. Hi, Teddy. Good stuff. Hope you're learning stuff. Remember, it's ongoing. Ongoing. Cheers, Uncle.